Here with Thunder head coach Rich Kromm for another edition of the Coach's Weekly Report. Now, Coach, last week a three-game set on the road against the Idaho Steelheads wasn't the best start of things, but you guys were able to turn it around and come away with a victory in the final game on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was an interesting 3 games for us. We started pretty slow in Wednesday's game. Thought we looked pretty lethargic in that game. I thought it didn't take us till probably about midway through the second game where we started to roll and play the way we needed to play, and we were able to salvage 2 points here in the Saturday game.
And what about the effort from your team? Being down on a 5-game winless streak, those can be a tough rut mentally as much as physically to fight through. Was there anything that you said or any guys in the dressing room that really seemed to stand up and try to turn the locker room around?
Well, I think that we all realize that we're going through a tough stretch, and the only way to battle out of it is for everybody to pull together and play harder and work smarter in situations. And I think Garrett Hunt really stepped up in that second game physically and vocally on the bench and really started to lead the way for the team. And I think after that it kind of snowballed the other way, and I think we played a pretty solid 90 minutes to finish that series off.
Now, it almost seemed, from at least my position up in the broadcast booth and to some of the viewers as well, that maybe teams are starting to pick up on some tendencies. They were playing sort of what Ontario did a few weeks ago, kind of getting in hard on the forecheck. Do you think that playing that physical brand of hockey, going in hard on the forecheck yourself and trying to make sure that teams aren't taking advantage of your guys, that might be something that could help you guys going forward?
Well, I think that's been our strength going through the early part of the season, was getting in on a forecheck, establishing puck possession in the offensive zone and creating our chances from that. We got away from that a little bit. We started not to get in as hard. Guys were giving teams too much time and space, and I think any team that plays aggressive on the forecheck with lots of support is going to have success, and we have to know that that's got to be our game every night.
Now, you want to see your guys be aggressive, but there are certain situations like we saw on Saturday night where things can kind of get out of hand. 128 combined penalty minutes. It seemed to be maybe just as much to do with the referee as with some of the physical play, but do you also have to try to make sure your players are towing that line, that they're not going too over the top in terms of aggression?
Well, I think you look at the game, you play hard, and certain times you're going to take penalties that are necessary. Other times you might take a retaliatory one that's going to be one that you don't really want your guys taking. And I think if we play with discipline, don't take retaliatory penalties, and play physical, we'll be fine. I think the referee in that whole series was in a style of refereeing which seemed to me that he didn't want to give anybody the advantage. So if there was a call one way, there ended up being another one the other way, and that's just the way that it went. It was frustrating for the players, I think, at times, especially, and it showed in that last game.
Here with head coach Rich Kromm on the Coach's Weekly Report. Coach, taking a step back and looking at the broader picture right now, the conference standings in the West, it seems like you're going to be dealing with 4 very strong teams on the mountain side of things. And right now in the upcoming schedule, you've got several games against Pacific Division opponents where you sit second in the standings right now. How important are these games to try and maybe catch up with Ontario and try to get yourself one of those top 2 automatic seeds by winning the conference?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's going to be a real important stretch and favorable to us because we have lots of time to prepare and practice for the weekend games, and we're going to have a tough series against Ontario coming up, but we don't want to look past what's right ahead of us here. And the favorable part of it is the schedule is working for us and not against us right now, and we just have to be prepared to play those games.
And the next game up on the schedule for the Thunder is a Saturday night road game against the San Francisco Bulls, a team that has kind of been hot and cold against you guys. We've seen the Thunder be outplayed, and we've seen the Thunder dominate the Bulls as they did in a 5-1 victory at home ice. But on that first trip on the road to the Cow Palace for a regular season game, what are your thoughts from what you might expect?
It's hard to say with San Francisco because their team changes so often with different personnel coming in and out of the lineup. They went into Ontario and won that first game last weekend against Ontario, which is never going to be easy, and then they lost the game. So I think that's just been the pattern with their team. They are a team that can be very, very tough to play against, and they have lots of ability on that team. So we have to be prepared. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We have to make sure that we're playing our game the way we need to.
All right, that's the word from head coach Rich Kromm. Thanks very much, Coach. Remember, Thunder fans, the next time the Thunder are at home is on December 15th, a 4 p.m. game against the Bakersfield Condors, and it is another family day, so remember you can get a 4-pack of tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 sodas for just $38. Check it out on StocktonThunder.com. For ThunderVision, I'm Caleb Lamb.